Christopher Bell, the fastest car of the race, has engine trouble. Then Ryan Blaney, while leading on the final lap, runs out of gas, giving Austin Cindric his first win in 85 races. Let's talk about everything that just happened in NASCAR at St. Louis. Hello everybody, welcome to Dirty Air. I'm your host Alex Lambert, and let's talk about NASCAR in St. Louis, where Austin Cindric pulls off a surprise win, shocking the playoff grid after Ryan Blaney and Christopher Bell have trouble in the closing laps of the race. We also have Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson getting a little bit of a wreck in the mid portions of this race. We'll break down the playoff grid, we'll break down the results. Let's break down everything that just happened in St. Louis in NASCAR. Maybe this was sort of a more chaotic finish because it was due to some issues with Christopher Bell's car, Ryan Blaney's car, but Austin Cindric, huge win for Austin Cindric today, punching his ticket in the playoffs. This is big for that number 2 team and for Austin Cindric himself. But let's sort of break down the story of this race, because obviously my big 3 drivers of the day, right? If I pick my big 3 drivers every race, I'm going to go with the winner, Cindric. I'm going to go with Christopher Bell, of course, with looking at how fast he was today, and I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney as well, because those were the fastest cars all day long. And what an impressive car that Joe Gibbs Racing and Adam Stevens put together in the 20 team camp, because man, that car was fast. Really the only car that was able to pass through the field in the dirty air consistently. Very much a lot of passing that 20 team was doing. Very impressive with the car they built. Even Christopher Bell said in his post-race interview, you don't get them that fast commonly, and it's really heartbreaking when you don't win in that car. But the engine expires, something goes wrong, he runs out of power with 20 laps to go or so. Maybe it was less than that, maybe like 10 laps to go. It looked like Blaney and Bell were going to be the 2 battling for the win. Those guys were battling for the win with about 24 laps to go. Then, of course, Bell had his issues, and then it looks like Ryan Blaney with a 2.5, 3-second lead is coming to the white flag to get the win. This is coming to the white flag, so I guess it wasn't quite on the final lap. It was technically with 2 laps to go. You see the pass happen, but Ryan Blaney runs out of fuel unexpectedly, giving Austin Cindric the lead and ultimately the win. Coming back to the checkered flag, Austin Cindric gets his 2nd career win. What a heartbreak for both Christopher Bell, who had the really fast race car, then had issues, and really a heartbreaker for Ryan Blaney and his issues. Really unfortunate with what happened with Blaney there. We're going to have to go back and look and see what happened. Did they not get as much fuel in the car as they thought? Was something mechanically wrong? You're going to have to go back and pinpoint what went wrong in the 12-team camp, because that is a catastrophic mistake that you cannot see happen. Not only does Ryan Blaney not get his first career win of the season, but also he finishes in the 24th position, so loses out on a lot of points. Really bad day for him, considering, well, he just saved a little bit of fuel. If he'd have known and could have saved a little bit of fuel, he could have got the win, and it would be a completely different day for the Penske team, number 12 team for sure. But instead, it's still a Penske win, because Austin Cindric, huge win for him. You got to talk about that a little bit, because Austin Cindric, this is a massive win. First win since the Daytona 500 in 2022, and after he won the Daytona 500 in 2022, that was considered his rookie season. He raced a few races in 2021, but in his rookie season 2022, won the Daytona 500, punched himself into the playoffs that way, but he's now in the playoffs. Big win for him to punch his ticket into the playoffs. But I've been a little bit disappointed with Austin Cindric, because I said after that Daytona 500 win, this was not a fluke. I said I don't think he's going to win this year in 2022, but I think going into 23, 24, you're going to see a lot more consistency and results out of this team. And certainly today was sort of an outstanding performance, but I have not seen this all season long really from Austin Cindric. I mean, he's run well at the plate races or the super speedway races. He's run decent at certain points, but he has not been as consistent as I thought this 2 team was going to be going into his 3rd season. Hopefully a little bit of a win gives him a shot of momentum, because that's certainly something we see sometimes, especially in the summer portion of the season that we're getting into. You can see a team sort of step up. Wouldn't be surprised if that's Austin Cindric, but I've been a little disappointed this year. Was really far out of the playoff grid. Did not look like he was going to make it without a win, but fortunately today he was fast all day long. Don't want to discredit what he did. It's not a complete fluke win, right? Because obviously Blaney, Bell had their issues, but Cindric was a solid 3rd place team all day long that put them in position to get this win. But it'll be interesting to see what they continue to do. Been a little bit disappointed, but got the win today, which is big for him. Huge win for him today, getting that 2nd career win in a non-super speedway plate race type deal. So big deal there. for Austin Cindric. Of course, let's talk about a few other drivers. Let's go through the entire top 10. I have, of course, Denny Hamlin, a really solid day once again, who's now your points leader, been very consistent all season long. Denny Hamlin is now was able to get another top 2 finish today. Very solid run. Denny Hamlin's been fast at a lot of racetracks this year. Got the 3 wins already and is fast at such a variety of racetracks this year. He's definitely a championship threat right now and one of the favorites right now with the most wins this year and the consistency. Brad Keselowski, I believe that's his 3rd top 3 finish in a row. Got the win at Darlington, finished 2nd last week in Charlotte, finished 3rd this week. Obviously, he's on a upstring right now. Very good results right now coming out of Brad Keselowski, and it's going to be interesting to see how he continues to improve as well. We talked about how bad the Fords were. Well, Fords once again are having a few good weeks with Brad Keselowski running in the top 3 once again. Keselowski having a really solid season right now, so we'll have to see how that continues to move forward. Tyler Reddick with a solid 4th place finish today. Same thing, 23-11 Toyota, your top finishing Toyota. Joey Logano, we talked about him. He's outside of the points right now, outside of the grid by 14 points, and he needed this run big time. I don't think he got any stage points today, but a 5th place finish is a really big boost of momentum for that team. He even talked about it in his post-race interview, how it's not been fun. I mean, that's a team that's expecting to win races, expecting to win championships. They won the championship just 2 years ago in 2022, and ever since then, it has been a hard fall-off. Has not won in over a season since Atlanta in the spring of 2023. It's been a long time since Joey Logano has been to victory lane. A 5th place finish, while of course he wants to be going for the win, but a top 5 nonetheless. A nice momentum boost there for the 22 team, and they've been on a real struggle bus over the last maybe year and a half. It's been a long time since Joey Logano has been the Joey Logano we've been used to seeing for years to come since he won that championship in 2022, his 2nd championship. Austin Dillon, another driver that we haven't seen much out of at all in the last couple of seasons either. I think this is Dillon, maybe his 2nd top 10 all season long. He's 30-something in points. Really rough year for Austin Dillon, but a nice, solid top 6 finish today. His teammate Kyle Busch was really fast as well, but got caught up in some trouble. We'll break that down a little bit later on. Christopher Bell, like I said, was the fastest car, no doubt, all day long. Was going for the race win, but had some sort of mechanical failure. We'll have to go back and see exactly what it was. It was something to do with the engine, we believe, and unfortunately for him, finishes in 7th. Once again, the average of 7th is okay, but when you have a car that fast, you expect to get the win. So certainly really disappointing for Bell in the 20 team. Carson Osevar, another top 10 for him. Been a solid year for him. He's really, outperforming his teammate, his veteran teammate Corey LaJoie, and it's his rookie season on a team that has not had success ever, in its history, that has not had a whole lot of success. So Carson Osevar getting another top 10 in his rookie season, may I add, is really impressive. So congratulations to Carson Osevar there, getting the results, trying to improve that 77 team and Spire Motorsports organization, and another top 10 for him. Great run. Justin Haley, another top 10 for him as well in the 51 team. I believe it was a few weeks ago that was the first time that Justin Haley's team finished in the top 10 on a non-super speedway race track, and then of course another top 10 today. So that would be the 2nd time that's happened in that team's history on a non Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta race today in St. Louis. So Justin Haley also improving his team. And then, of course, you had Kyle Larson, who also had issues today, was able to recover with using some strategy and finish in the top 10, finish in the 10th position. So you look at the top 10 a little bit, you see a lot of drivers you don't typically see in the top 10, at least this season in the top 10. You have Logano, Dillon, Osevar, Haley. Haven't seen them running in the top 10 every race this year. So certainly a little bit of parity after this St. Louis race. There was some strategy involved and, of course, driver talent involved in this. I do want to mention Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson because it was midway through the race, coming to the end of stage 2, so I believe that was lap 140, 145, something of that nature out of the 240-lap race. And unfortunately here, Kyle Busch have some contact on the front straightaway, and then Kyle Busch really, hugs Kyle Larson there on the bottom groove. Larson gets a little bit loose, slides up into Busch. They both go slam into the wall. Kyle Larson, fortunately, once again, he came back to finish in the 10th position. Kyle Busch, who really needed a good points day, ended up finishing 2nd to last after that, after DNFing, his first DNF of the season for Kyle Busch. That's really unfortunate. Not entirely sure what happened here. I mean, it looks like Larson was just racing hard. He got into Kyle Busch a little bit, then Busch turned back down into him, and then Busch just, ran him really hard there, hugged him on the bottom going into turn one, and unfortunately that just caused a crash there for those two drivers. So unfortunate for Kyle Busch. Puts him in a big hole. Very unfortunate for that team, but Busch is now 20 points below the cut line. And then of course Kyle Larson, once again racing for the regular season championship. So it's Kyle's all over the place, but really unfortunate situation there for both drivers. Both drivers think that the other one was in the wrong, so neither driver really taking full responsibility, at least in the immediate interviews following the race and on the radio. So we'll see how that situation continues to evolve. Let's bring up the playoff grid, because I've been sort of mentioning it more, right? You know, we've had 15 of 26 races complete in the regular season. You're starting to get a feel for where everything is at until you get a winner like Austin Cindric, who sort of shakes everything up. I mean, Cindric was, I believe, over 100 points out going into today, 90-something points out maybe, but he's now in the playoffs locked in with a win. You have your 9 different winners. Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, both of those winners at the bottom of the line have not been in the top 16 in points right now. So that certainly shakes things up a little bit. You have Truex, MTJ. He's going to make it. No concern really for him. 132 points in. He had a bad day today, and he's still 132 points in with the speed he has. No concern for MTJ that he's not going to make the postseason. Ty Gibbs, same sort of situation. Really fast all year. Not concerned about him. Bowman, 59 points in, which is a solid cushion. Chastain, same type deal. A little bit disappointed that I haven't seen Chastain really contending for wins this year like we've seen in the past. But if you do remember, it wasn't until Nashville last year where we saw him get that first win. No win right now for Chastain, but certainly 59 points above. A solid cushion. Ryan Blaney, once again, really rough day today. With the speed Ryan Blaney's showing, I expect him to get a win. If not, I expect him to point his way in. But Ryan Blaney right now 47 points above. Bubba Wallace, it's really tight here from 15th to about 19th. It's really tight. You have Bubba Wallace only 13 points in. Chris Buescher only 10 points in. Buescher's one of those drivers I kind of expect to get a win, right? I mean, his teammates running really good. Didn't have a great day today. Chris Buescher did. And then you have Chase Briscoe, currently 10 points out of the playoff grid right now, trying to have a solid season. It's a little bit rough over there at the SHR camp. Not a whole lot of speed for that team all season long, but they're salvaging what they can get. 10 points below. Joey Logano with a solid day, was 30 below going into today. Had that 5th place finish, but if Logano wants to make it, going to have to start getting more results, going to have to start finishing better for sure, and getting more speed, and starting to look at some stage points. And then Kyle Busch, it's just a mess all over. I mean, it's bad on pit road. It's bad on the racetrack. At some tracks, he's super slow. Pit road's a disaster some weeks. And then today, of course, it was a disaster with Kyle Larson. It's been rough for Kyle Busch. Was a few points in going into today. Now he's 20 points out. Kyle Busch, I don't really know what to say. I don't know what to fix exactly. I mean, there's a few things you can point at that you should fix, but there's not one thing you can point at. The pit crew's bad. They don't have speed at certain racetracks. Kyle Busch is getting into fights with Ricky Stenhouse. It's just a disastrous season right now. 2024 is for Kyle Busch, and certainly upsetting to watch. It's hard to watch as a Kyle Busch fan, I'll be honest. It's not looking great right now for Busch, trying to get 20 consecutive years with the win. He's not even close to winning, much less making the top 16 in points. Josh Berry, really rough day today. Had issues all day long. I believe he got a pit road speeding penalty, and then was the one driver that had a brake rotor completely explode and fail, slamming him into the wall. He's now 4 points below the cut line as it stands after St. Louis. Once again, 15 of those 26 races have already been complete. In 2024, we would then set the playoff grid. So that's it. That's really all there is to talk about following this race in St. Louis. I thought it was a solid race. We do go to Sonoma. I believe that's our 2nd road course race of the season next week in Northern California, so that should be interesting. Of course, tune in to Dirty Air following that race. Like and subscribe if you like the video, and of course, please share the video if you can. I do appreciate it. And of course, about Kyle Busch being 20 points below the cut line after wrecking with Kyle Larson today. Ooh, let's get rowdy.